The State Theater in Culpeper was a mystery to most who drove by. Closed for 15 years, the group that owned it would put cryptic messages on the marquee that nobody understood. The one thing locals did understand, all that stood between the city landmark, not to mention all of those memories, was a date with the wrecking ball, and they would have nothing of it. Welcome to Culpeper, circa the 1930s. Whether it was the Marx Brothers or Clark Gable on the big screen, you can bet the State Theater was packed during its heyday.
But it was a lot of fun down here back in.
I remember the first movie I saw there. What was it? Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
How old were you, Bush?
I'm guessing I was 7 or 8. That's the one I remember. But used to go to the theater all the time down there. It was 25 cents to get in, and I would wash windows at the courthouse for my grandmother. She'd give me 35 cents, 25 cents to get in, and 10 cents to get popcorn.
The Saturday and Sunday matinees, we used to, when we were kids in the late 50s, early 60s, especially the early 60s, this was the place we came to every Saturday afternoon. We could come up with the money. We came to see all the Westerns, but we came to see whatever was showing. The movie was, most of the time, after you got about the 7th grade, the movie was irrelevant. It was the girls that sat in front of you or behind you or beside you. That was what brought you to the theater.
This building brings back a lot of memories to me. Matter of fact, the lady I'm married to now, I got guts enough to ask her for a date right here in this theater on a Sunday evening. And so a lot of things, a lot of history.
We've seen the theater go through a lot of changes, a lot of things. We've seen the Walt Disney movies in the color and the black and white. We had the old horror movies here. The Pink Ladies Follies used to be here in Culpeper. Mrs. Evelyn Gwynn would have piano studios. She had it in the back of the theater. We'd have concerts on Sunday afternoons for the local community to come and see their children perform.
Then the Kiwanis Club had talent shows here back then, and my first time out, I won first place in my age group. And it was the most wonderful experience I think I'd ever had. And
every year the Fraternal Order of Police would rent out this hall.
And for Christmas.
And
yeah.
We would have a movie for the children at 10 o'clock in the morning, Saturday morning.
And they would pay for it.
They'd pay for it and provide
a box of popcorn and a small drink.
And it was packed.
It was packed in here.
And then at the end of the movie,
at the end of it, we had to get ready for the matinee.
But at the end of it, the movie, they would have a gentleman come in who was
Santa Claus.
They would have Santa Claus come in, I should say, and
give them candy.
Give them candy out, and it was.
They just loved it.
It was, it was the showplace for Culpeper, and it was the only thing on Main Street that had a lot of lights. The colored lights on the marquee outside.
It won't be long, and soon the lights will be shining bright again on Main Street in downtown Culpeper when the newly restored marquee gets put on the face of the State Theater. And I'll tell you what, it's so bright, we had to call NASA and have them move the Hubble telescope further out into space.
Hello, I'm Ed Bednarzik, the Executive Director of the Culpeper State Theater. Built in 1938 as a vaudeville and movie house, it served the wonderful community of Culpeper since the mid-90s. Now undergoing a $9 million restoration and expansion project, it will reopen its doors in spring of 2013 as a state-of-the-art entertainment and educational venue. The 600-seat, 27,000-square-foot facility will add an excitement to the streetscape and the region. The theater will be a venue for live performances and films, including an incredibly diverse array of national touring acts, musical concerts from country, jazz, bluegrass, classical, rock, and more. We'll also work with the school systems throughout the region to develop field trips and create educational programming.
The State Theater will be open 6 days a week, utilizing the theater to its maximum potential. Located just 10 minutes from the theater is the Library of Congress Packard campus of the National Audiovisual Conservation Center. It is a state-of-the-art facility where the Library of Congress acquires, preserves, and provides access to the world's largest and most comprehensive collection of films, television programs, radio broadcasts, and sound recordings. The state will partner with the Library of Congress to develop film festivals and present art house, foreign, documentary, and classic films. This partnership will allow the state the ability to screen more 35mm prints in this digital age, and thus will make the State Theater the art house theater in the region. In addition to the 560-seat main auditorium, a 50-seat black box theater is planned for the second floor. This performance space will be utilized as a small cinema, theatrical space, or as a rented multimedia meeting or entertainment room. From cities to small rural towns, the arts and cultural industry is an economically sound investment. It attracts audiences, encourages business development, supports jobs and education, and generates government revenue. The State Theater of Culpeper will be a cornerstone of tourism and pave the way for the renaissance of Main Street. Attendance at the State Theater will generate local commerce for businesses such as restaurants, hotels, and retail.
I think the State Theater coming to Culpeper is going to affect my business. It's going to bring my night traffic up, especially on probably Fridays and Saturday nights. I'll be staying open later and ready to intercept the people that are coming in. And I think it's going to bring a lot of people from outside of the community in to help us spread the word about Culpeper as a whole.
Tourism generated over $30 million in recent years to Culpeper's local economy, and with the addition of the State Theater, we're anticipating a tremendous boost not only to tourism and visitation to the area, but also to our local economy and visitor spending. It's also going to be a terrific enhancement to the quality of life for our residents and visitors throughout the region. Culpeper is located within 500 miles of all of the major metropolitan areas up and down the eastern seaboard, and Amtrak provides daily service right into the heart of historic downtown. Visitors can hop the train from Boston, New York, Philadelphia on down, and the train arrives in our historic downtown within easy walking distance to the State Theater.
Well, I think the State Theater is going to be a win for all of us here in Culpeper. I think one of the things that is so awesome about the State Theater coming is it will generate new business and visitors to Culpeper, but I also think it'll bring people downtown from the surrounding areas that may not normally come downtown.
My name is Doug Smith. I'm the Executive Director of the Robert H. Smith Center for the Constitution at Montpelier, the home of James and Dolly Madison. Well, the State Theater in Culpeper is a natural partner with the Center for the Constitution at Montpelier, not just because of the geography, but because of our interests. I'm looking forward to the opportunities to have film festivals, have scholars come, maybe have some public events. Maybe we have events that happen in 2 locations and we stream those live. Really, the only thing that's limiting us is our imagination. And having the State Theater come online is an amazing thing, not just for this community, but for anybody who wants to do good, quality education about historic films. One of the great opportunities we have with the Culpeper State Theater is that we can share participants. The Center for the Constitution at Montpelier already trains thousands of teachers and cops and judges and politicians. We can share those participants, bring them together at the Culpeper State Theater, just like we do here at Montpelier, and we can have the substantive conversations that we need to have for today. Right now, there's some great films that deal not just with the Constitution, but actually governance and the values of self-governance, the kinds of values that James Madison taught each of us as Americans. We don't have the space here to be able to host a film festival. So what better partner than the Culpeper State Theater to partner with us and to make those film festivals happen?
Hi everybody, we're up here in Ohio at the world-famous Wagner Sign Company, and who better to restore the old Culpeper State Theater marquee than these guys? It's amazing, a $100,000 restoration, and fairly soon it'll be coming back to Culpeper and be placed on the front of the State Theater and light up Main Street. I'm here today with the president of the Wagner Electric Sign Company in Ohio,
Mr. Mark Wagner. Mark, thanks for having us here today.
We're glad you're here.
Well, we're glad to be here as well because this is the first time we've gotten to see the marquee fully lit right there in your warehouse, in your factory. Mark, how long has the Wagner Electric Sign Company been in business?
The Wagner Electric Sign Company started in 1954, and it was started by my grandfather. So my brother and I are actually third generation in the business.
So Mark, the Culpeper State Theater was built in 1938. How difficult was it to restore our marquee?
Well, the State Theater project was a really fun one for us to do. The Art Decos are fun as well because there aren't many of those Art Decos that we have been able to restore because they are newer than the vaudeville type marquees in theaters. But it's been a great experience for us. It's been a lot of fun. So this is a very true restoration and replication of your theater marquee. The Art Deco is fun because we get to use the incandescent lamps, we get to use the neon, the fluorescent, and the bright colors and the glitz. And this was an interesting project because it was extremely true to the original. You have the air-conditioned neon across the front of the marquee, which was neat because obviously today we don't need to advertise that, but back in the day that was very important. So you stayed true to your restoration.
Well, Mark, thank you again. It's really been a pleasure coming up to Ohio, to your factory, and its rich history in itself. There are many sponsorship opportunities at the State Theater of Culpeper, but the premier sponsorship opportunity is the naming right of the State Theater marquee. What company would not want to see their name in lights on Main Street as the fully restored marquee gets lit and welcomes thousands to the region? In spring of 2013, the State Theater of Culpeper will open its doors for all to enjoy once again. It'll be the 75th anniversary of the theater. We hope to see you on opening week.